The Colorado Avalanche pull even in their series with the Winnipeg Jets, taking home ice advantage back to the place where they play oh so well in Denver, Colorado. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you, where we're going to break down game 2 of the Avalanche and the Winnipeg Jets.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure you're following us on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram, and Threads. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, Locked On Avalanche at gmail.com, and follow us over on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live, and absolutely subscribe to our subtext. Link to that is in the show notes below. And when you do, chat with Kyle and I one-on-one, get your opinions on everything Avalanche related, which we share on this very podcast, which we will do later on. They have some opinions on this game between the Avs and the Jets, game 2. Big game. I mean, was your season over if you didn't win it? No, but no team wants to be in a 2-0 hole, right? So you take care of business, and again, pretty convincingly. And if you had the Alexandar Georgiev performance that you just got in game 2, in game 1, you are up 2-0 in this series. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Game 1 happened. We'll get into him a little bit later because he played great. He played great. The team played great. And they did what Jared Bednar said after game 1 of, we play our game. We play our game and we don't change things too much. And look what happens. When things are clicking for them, they are clicking, and they win this thing 5-2. It was a great game for them.
Yeah, it started out weird, and then it cleaned up all the way through. Second period, third period was immaculate. And to have that performance out of Georgiev, and it, honestly, looking back at it, I was thinking about this midway through the game. It feels like Georgiev just kind of put it in cruise control during garbage time, and just kind of
Garbage time.
Like,
where's garbage time in this thing, man? Like,
no. Towards the end of the regular season, into game 1, like when it comes to the reaction and everything, he just was kind of going through the motions. And game 1 was honestly, I think, a wake-up call for everybody. You see the defense, they played so much better. You still had those crazy passes, but that it kind of led to that when Georgiev was leading the team out of the locker room before the game, that you knew this was going to be a different kind of vibe, and you felt it all game long.
That was a little just, we're standing behind our guy here, like, and I know most of the time goalies lead them out anyway, but little things like that you pick up on. And it didn't start. I thought the start was okay, even though Winnipeg got the first goal, and that first goal was, I was okay with it. It was just, there was a lot of traffic in front of the net. The puck kind of bounced around, and the Jets got a little bit of puck luck there, and the guy buried it.
Yeah.
Don't excuse them for that, but they took the lead, and that's not what you want when you're on the road. You got that crowd, which is crazy, and they're so into it. But we've said this how many times throughout the course of the season, Kyle, where it doesn't phase them, this team. Like, fine, like we spotted you a goal, not how we wanted to start it, but we will just do what we need to do. And you had a second period. Like, I thought the first period, it was a good first period for them. Mm-hmm. And the way that it finished was they were having really good possessions, and they were getting good shots on goal, and they just weren't going in. And but it's one of those things where, because of who they have in goal in Connor Hellybuyck, you're like, is it going to be one of those games where they look good on everything except the scoreboard, where, is he going to shut them down and be one of those, they get 40 shots on goal and only manage one goal or something like that. And then the second period came, and, they kicked it into high gear, and they got pucks past him 4 goals. I was happy with 3 goals in a period in game 1, and they get 4 on him. 4 on Connor Hellybuyck, who we're going to talk about a little bit later. But they're locked in offensively, and the Jets, for all of the talk about how they're great defensively, and they are, so far the Avalanche have figured them out.
And it's refreshing when you see the shot discrepancy at the beginning of that first period, and the momentum permanently swing for Colorado the rest of the way. It was one of those starting out, going down 1-0, going into the second. The shots coming back towards Colorado was reassuring, but it was, again, everybody throwing up their hands. Oh, here we go again. Their Avs are down. But that second period performance, and I think the Trenin Parisi goal is one we're going to point back a lot, because that was just straight up hustle.
Working man's goal right there. Yeah.
You couldn't ask for more. And that's not your Nathan McKinnon, your Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar. That's Parise, that's Trenin Cogliano. That's what you want. Depth scoring, and that's how you wear down a defensive strong team, is you beat them with depth. And that's what the Avalanche did.
And we, hear so much about, again, with Winnipeg, like their depth, and they have it. Everything that Winnipeg is known for, the Avalanche are matching them and beating them in a lot of most of those scenarios. And then you get the one by Josh Manson right before the period ends, which it just made you feel so good going into the third. And I know the Avalanche have had some issues going into the third, especially that Vegas game towards the end of the year, so nobody is counting their chickens before they hatch here for the third, but to have that little bit of a buffer, you were like, all right, if you give up one, like a fluky goal in the third, you still have the lead. And I know the crowd would have gotten into it and been raucous and everything, but the second period was offensively what the Avalanche can do. And the third period was a defensive clinic, Kyle. And again, going back to, we talk about Winnipeg all the time and the defense. This was the Avalanche staking their claim as we can play defense too. And you knew Winnipeg was going to have to come out and throw everything that they could at them being down. How many shots on goal Winnipeg had in the third? 8. I'm clapping because that what's coming. You know it is coming, and Winnipeg isn't like known for their offensive like prowess. I mean, they have it, but even when you know what you have to do in the third, you're down 2. You got to throw everything at them. Avalanche only let up 8 shots on goal in that period. It was one of the best defensive performances they had, and it wasn't like they were playing defense just completely on their heels. They were playing set plays and doing what they needed to do. They weren't chasing, really good in the neutral zone, not losing their man, just everything that they were saying at the end of game 1. It seems like they did it in game 2, and it worked to a 5-2 victory.
And to have that kind of performance where you're rotating defensively, like everybody pick a guy. I saw Nathan McKinnon rotating in defense. You saw the defense playing up and the forwards playing back, rotating, being fresh. And again, this is on the road. This is Winnipeg, that crazy whiteout environment, up 1-0, crazy. Like you're about to steal 2 against the Colorado Avalanche in Winnipeg, and the Avalanche completely silence them to where they're leaving before the end of a playoff game. And
there wasn't much time left, but yeah, I get it.
And you could have, it could have been worse. The Avalanche had 2 off the post, Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. It could have been, we could have been really talking about a massive momentum swing going into Ball Arena, which it already is. This feels like an even series now, and it is. It
is, yeah.
This is what you want, to split it on the road. Like you had your game 1 feeling out process, game 2. If this is what it is, mano on mano, you feel good about the Avalanche chances going on the rest of the way.
It's what you want to do if you're the away team for the first 2 games. You want to split them. Clearly, you want to win both of them, but if you split them, then you've taken the home ice back. And where the Avs play at home, nobody's better. So, and there was momentum changing in this game when the Avs had the double minor Cale Makar gets the high stick. There's blood. They get a double minor. Winnipeg kills it. And not long after it's killed, they score on like an incredible tip in. Could Jack Johnson have played that better? Yeah, he could have played it harder. I mean, I think Jack Johnson maybe looked at like, well, I'm on him enough. These guys make incredible plays in this league, and Jack Johnson knows that. He's been around long enough to know that. But I think maybe he just felt like I got a body on him. There's no way he's going to be able to get around me. It was a perfect pass and an even better tip in. There was a one-handed tip. Like, come on. That's just ridiculous. So the 2 goals that Georgiev let in, you just put your hands up and say, like, okay, you got to give him credit for that. It's just good, hard hockey plays. But they didn't let it get to them. That was a big momentum shift for Winnipeg. Kill the double minor, get a goal. And, it just obviously wasn't. Avs just say, no, we're just going to continue to play our game. And you see what the results were. So
that was it for Winnipeg. The rest of the game. That was it. That was their highlight.
That was it. And the active sticks by the Avalanche was, I mean, how many poke checks did they have that just kicked a puck off the stick of a Winnipeg player? Not necessarily like was a change of possession, but that's all you need just to trip them up a little bit. Don't let them just walk in easy time and space and do whatever they want to do. I thought it was great. I thought top to bottom, it was a really good performance, especially from Alexandar Georgiev. Boy, did he need this. He needed this more than any other player playing in the playoffs, and he did it. So let's talk about him. We'll do that coming up next. First, let's hear from eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance: superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, which we always call what, Kyle?
The Nathan McKinnon trilogy.
Absolutely. eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all of the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP. Bring home the win and keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. And eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. We're also brought to you by FanDuel, and it's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. And baseball is in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed, and that $150 is yours, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. That's FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. No secret, Alexandar Georgiev needed a big game. And if Justus Annunen was not still sick, I don't think he would have gotten this start, if you ask me. I'm sure Jared Bednar will look back and say, like, oh, this was my plan all along, and look like the genius that he is. But it's no secret. He's not been playing well. It was a horrid game in game one. And when, you heard Annunen was going to be out, you kind of figured, all right, well, he's going to get the start. Maybe that's a good thing. Let him do what we always say this team does and follow up a poor performance with a good one. We always say that about the team, and he needed it for himself. The team needed it, sure, because you got to get the win, but for him and his position and what he does, he needed this. And he gave you those saves that you need, those saves that we say, like, man, when things break down and you need your goalie to bail out the players that screwed up in front of you, you got a few of those in this game. He was good. He was good. You got to give him credit.
And it's almost like night and day, like a flip of a switch. Like 28 saves on 30 shots. That's really, really good performance. In the way, it's not fluky saves either. He was activating the shoulder. He was good positioning off the blockers. The glove looks a little weird, but hey,
it does. It does. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there, but I don't care. If you give me 28 saves out of 30 shots, I like our chances every single night. So if this is what you're going to do, this is great. This is wonderful. I'm looking forward to seeing which Georgiev comes up in game 3. But this performance is exactly what he needed, the Avalanche needed, and we'll see where this goes going forward.
Yeah, the glove was a little weird, and it has been for him. He just seems to not be able to collect that puck and not bounce out of it for whatever reason. And Winnipeg knows that, so they're going to test that.
And that glove became a factor and could have been worse. That Niederreiter breakaway, he never got a clean save. He just kind of batted it down with the glove and kind of collected it in the trappers. So that's cool. That's wonderful. You got the save, but let's work on that glove a little bit.
We'll work on that. I mean, but overall, yeah, he made some really big saves, and there was again could have been big momentum shifters more than what was on Winnipeg's side after they killed that double minor late in the game. You got that Duhaime penalty. And even though, you're still up to, I think there was about between 7 and 8 minutes when that happened, they score on that. They got plenty of time to get that equalizer. And I think the Jets only got one shot on goal during that power play. So it speaks more to the defense and the penalty kill and shutting it down. But, he was a part of a lot of big plays that, easily in game 1, he couldn't save a beach ball. But in this thing, like he was on it. I don't want to, we talked about the glove. There were a couple moments where he didn't seem like he was tracking the puck, but that's any game.
Yeah.
For any goalie where they're going to have a couple moments where they don't see the puck well. And I think it's just going to get amplified for him for, how poorly he's been playing. When it happens for him, and he'd be like, oh, great, there's Georgiev not tracking the puck. It happens to anybody. But overall, he's earned himself another start. Now, does this mean he's our goalie for, the rest of this year? We don't know. It has been an up and down season for Georgiev. You got to ride this into the next game and hope that he can duplicate this. And he's got to be feeling good, especially doing it on another team's ice in a raucous environment. He's been down on himself. And I know it's only one game, but it's the playoffs. So any win you get in the playoffs is a big game. So I think he's heading home with a lot more confidence. And the Avs had no choice. They had no choice to go with him. So he really stepped up. And we've been down on him, and a lot of people have. But you got to give him a ton of credit for this game.
And I'm not saying that he was playing like Patrick Waugh or he had like Vezina type game. And I agree with you there. Like there was some times that he lost the puck, didn't know where it was. But be glad the Avalanche have a choice and a chance where you're talking about, is it Georgiev's net or is it Justus net again? Because look at the other side of the bracket. Look at what Nashville's doing to Vancouver right now because they don't have Demko.
Yeah, that's a big
loss. We'd be talking about, are we talking Prosvetov or are we talking a sick Justus? That's not a decision you want to make in Winnipeg. So be glad we have a average choice that you could go between, but building off this, if we have incredible play from Georgiev from here on out, that's what we want. This is a good choice to have.
On the other side of the ice, do the Jets have a goalie problem? Not in that there's a goalie like controversy and they're going to pull Connor Hellybuyck. Like that is not going to happen. And I like Connor Hellybuyck. I've said it, before the season even started. I for my money, he's the best goalie in the league, not just this year. And everybody's stuck on Shesterkin, everybody's stuck on Vasilevsky, and I get it; those guys are great too. But for my money, I think Connor Hellebuyck's the best goalie in the league. But that's 2 games. They got an empty netter, so they only let in 4, but he let in 4 and let in 6. It's 10 goals in 2 games on the best goalie in the league. There are players in sports who struggle come playoff time. That title was attached to Peyton Manning for a long time. It's forever going to be attached to Dan Marino.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can go through sports and say like, hey, regular season excellence and struggle in the playoffs. I know it's only 2 games for this year, but even last year, the Jets were ousted. And I think in 4 straight games they lost. I think they won the first game and then they lost 4 straight. Is this just a thing for him right now? We talk about Connor McDavid not being able to get over the hump. Do they have a problem right now?
And this is something that Harrison brought up of Locked On Jets when we did the crossover. Connor Hellybuyck in the playoffs has not been the Connor Hellybuyck of the regular season. And is this going to be the MO for the rest of the series? It's interesting to watch, but we talk about Georgiev all day long, but now that's 10 in 2 games on Connor Hellybuyck. That's a surprising stat and definitely something the Jets fans weren't expecting. And looking at going back to Ball Arena for the first time in the playoffs, that's not something you want to carry with that raucous Ball Arena crowd.
No, not at all. Because, you know, it's a similar environment to what you saw in Winnipeg when you play in Ball Arena. Sure, they don't have the white shirts, but white shirts don't make you louder. And they can get loud in Ball Arena. So we'll see. They're going to get on him. You know, all's fair in love and war. And if the Winnipeg fans are getting on Georgiev, you better believe the way that Hellybuyck has played, you know, he's going to hear it from the Denver crowd as well. Deservedly so. It's been rough for him. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes in game 3. A few more things we got to get to. We have our subtext crew waiting to make some comments, and we have our sound check that we have to get to as well. So we'll do all of that coming up next. First, let's hear from Sleeper. And regardless of where we are in the playoffs, which is obviously tied, we want to remind you that you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper. And Kyle continues to scour the internet looking for a better app for daily fantasy sports. Any luck yet, sir? We're coming to the end of the season here. We're in the playoffs.
I just can't. I can't find one.
Can't do it. Cannot do it. Because Sleeper is our #1 choice for daily fantasy sports and daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. This is where I come to you, sir, to give me your Sleeper pick of the game we're going to have to wait till Friday for game 3. Who's it going to be for this game?
Nathan MacKinnon at home with this momentum. Prepare yourself.
You haven't gone with MacKinnon I think it's the easy way out, but for the playoffs, all bets are off. I think that's a phenomenal pick. So all you have to do is pick whether studs like Nathan MacKinnon will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a given game. So use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That code is LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Also brought to you by Indeed. And when you're drafting your fantasy team, do you ever wish that you could handpick the best stars for your business team? If you're building your talent roster, then you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like matching assessments and virtual interviews. And if you hate waiting, Indeed US data shows that over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match their job description the moment that they are posted. Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. So go to Indeed.com/LockedOn. That's Indeed.com/LockedOn. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application. Pricing not available for everyone. And if you need to hire, then you need Indeed. All right. So we said on the last episode, at the end of this game, who would we be looking back and saying, like, that guy stepped it up? I don't remember who you picked for that.
I said I don't want to hear from Josh Manson. I kind of did.
I thought he had another, like, good game, and then another like some. What are you doing here, man? Like he loves those blind passes for some reason.
I did say Taser would be stepping up because they needed a more controlled defensive output, and boy did he.
I remember going with Casey Middlestat, and I thought again he played okay. But I'll say like who kind of gets this award. I'll give you two guys. Donachuskin.
Yep.
Phenomenal game from him. And I'll give it to a depth guy, Kiviranta.
Yeah.
Well, he played very well. He played good defense, good back checking. I talked in the first segment about active sticks. That was him. I thought he played a solid game for, one of your depth guys. So kudos to him.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Nichushkin, boy, seeing his production in the playoffs, you really see what you missed in the Seattle series last year. Mm-hmm. And I'll raise you Trinan. He was buzzing
playing hard.
He was
playing
buzzing.
Hard.
Yeah.
Over on subtext, we got some people chiming in on this. Easton, crazy game. I need my heart checked. Top dogs, I think, need to produce a bit more. Can't get 2 depth goals, a game every game. That was the other thing I want to mention with Hellybuyck is he let Miles Woods score again, Zach Parise score, Josh Manson score. I get that, from the Jet side, that's not good. From the Av side, that is good and bad. That's good because your depth guys are producing, but when your top guys really haven't hit their stride yet, with the exception of Cale Makar. Cale Makar is playing beautifully. And it's not to say that Nathan McKinnon's playing poorly. He's playing good. Mikko Rantanen is... I can't find the word for it, Kyle. He's not playing bad, but like we said in the last episode, he's better than what he's giving you right now. He's a superstar, and he's got to step it up to that level a little bit.
Yeah, Mikko's a ghost with no ectoplasm right now.
If you're gonna go Ghostbusters on me, man, like that's completely fine. We can completely shift the tone of this this show to Ghostbusters if you want to. Vargar, he says, great rebound win, even though I was furious they didn't score on the double minor and gave up a goal right after. Solid team effort up and down the lineup. Makar, Lehkonen, and the Avs' bottom 6 were awesome. Georgiev held the fort. You hope the momentum carries. Yeah, pretty much a lot of what we had said. So I can't disagree with anything he had said there.
Nope. They better keep the momentum going. You don't want to split it at Ball Arena, the best place that you've played all season. This is where you thrive.
I mean, obviously, if you're the road team and you're going to split the series, you'll take the second game because that goes into your home ice. You know what I mean? You want the first one is nice because that sets the tone typically. But if you get the second one, man, like Ball Arena would have been loud anyway. Yeah. Now that you have the momentum going into it, that's even better. Amy says, so excited to get one on the road. Solid performances all around. Huge kudos to Georgie for for a strong performance. He had some really good saves. I cannot imagine the mental fortitude required to come back from the last game. 100%, Amy. 100%. I mean, you probably as down as you can be, not just from that game, just how you've been playing. And to come back and to perform like he did was aces.
Yeah. I like we said, he can't get worse, and he didn't. So congratulations, Georgie.
Joe, I'm still mad about the last game, but Georgiev really cleaned that up tonight. He must have got, quote, the talk. Which, like the birds and the bees talk? Or what are we talking
about?
It says, great show by everyone. The whole lineup is contributing. Loved how they just shut the third period down. And I asked before this series was a split. All I asked for this before the series was a split in Winnipeg. Got it.
Congratulations. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. Heather, defense actually helping Georgiev and sacrificing themselves made up for the lack of fair calls from the refs. The Jets could have tossed the puck to one another and the refs would have kept their whistles in their pocket. Great looking Avs. Or I'm not going to go in on the refs. She's 100% right. They had a rough game across the board on both sides.
The Jets did do a hand pass and not get called for it. So
yeah, it was rough. It was a rough game for them. And And yeah, I thought defensively, you could tell the Avs were really collapsing and getting a little bit closer to Georgiev to help him out. Made sure they knew where their men were, not lose track of them. It was better. It was better. Brand new subtexter, Coy. Coy is joining us. Scoring up and down the lineup, laying the boom. Goaltending equals huge. Avs win. 10 on Hellybuyck in the first 2 games is amazing. Give Georgie credit. He stepped up in the biggest way he could. And one more thing, 40 means Georgiev has a lot to do to make me confident in him again, but that's a start. Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed. I'm not like, hey, Georgiev's back. Like, you played great. And I hate to say it, do it again.
Yep.
And then if you do it again after that. He's got to keep this going. This is the playoffs. It's win or go home, clearly.
Do it again until it's party time.
Yeah. And we got Kyle, not Mr. Von Doom. King Georgie has found his crown. Nice bounce back game for him, but I suppose when you hit the bottom, the only way to go is up. Kiviranta also looked great tonight. There you go. Let's build off that and take this momentum back to home ice.
Or else.
Everybody's happy. Avs fans are going to sleep better tonight. It's always nice when you get a win. You sleep a little better. The next day is nicer. The sun is shining a little bit brighter. It's not doom and gloom. So you feel good. And because of the way the scheduling is, it's not usually the playoffs are every other day you're playing. You have 2 days to enjoy this because there's no game until Friday. So for once, I'm not mad at the NHL scheduling because they give us 2 days to enjoy this and not a loss.
Wins all around.
Absolutely. All right, last bit that we got, and that is our Locked On Avalanche sound check. This is where we pick one song each that best describes the most recent game. These songs go up on a playlist over on Spotify, which you can follow. Just search for LOA sound check, volume number 3. These songs show up on. What do you got for this, sir?
From the Scooby-Doo 2 soundtrack.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Bowling for Soup.
Okay.
Back up, man. You're out of control. You're stressed out at full throttle. Got so many problems I can't ignore. I'm just with my friends. I want to roll right on through the other side because this is our town to ride in. Here we go. Here we go. From Bowling for Soup.
Bowling for Soup. So the name of the song is Here We Go.
Here we go.
Or is it
Listen to it. It is a jam, and I think it now is played in arenas, but it is a jam.
Okay. And hey, like there was a moment in time where soundtracks were like where you went for good songs. I don't know if up and down the lineup that Scooby-Doo soundtrack is a good one, but hey,
it's a really good one.
They got a banger on there. I'm all for it. All right. I'm continuing with my Pearl Jam run here. I said I was going to do Pearl Jam all throughout the playoffs. Why not? And I wasn't going to just like take songs off of their new album, but I have to with this one. So this is off the brand new album, Dark Matter. The song is maybe one of my favorite songs on the album.
Wow.
And it's called React, Respond. How does that not fit this game, sir? You responded. You reacted. You respond. And it's the game after game one. You reacted and responded. And it's within the game when you reacted to what Winnipeg did when they were taking momentum back. And you responded to that as well. Song is a rocker. It's like old school Pearl Jam. Can't beat it.
I think Eddie wrote this album for the Avs because the Kraken are not in the playoffs.
No, Eddie wrote this album for Locked On Avalanche so we could share it for our sound checks. Clearly. That is going to do it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. We will be back tomorrow. We'll probably have some morning leftovers for this game and maybe some injury updates because Sammy G didn't play in this game, but he should be back for Friday. And then we'll hear what we'll talk about, press conference stuff that is probably going on now as we're recording this episode. So once again, thank you for tuning in and making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli, and this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. Avs, even it up. We'll see you guys tomorrow.